Welcome back to Village in Motion this Wednesday, July the 18th. I'm Clint Lambert, the host for this segment of the Village in Motion today. And for this segment, I have Roy O'Connor with me here in the studio. And Roy, for those of you that do not know, is our live-in director of the Board of Directors, which I like to call the director in residence as opposed to live-in director. But we're very glad to have him with us. And Roy's got some comments to make and things to share with us about the Board of Directors and what's going on. Good morning, Roy.
Good morning, Clint. How you doing today?
Doing wonderful.
You know, back in May, last time I was on, we explained the new board structure and a lot of change that went into effect April 1st of this year. And then not only in that segment, but we also did a disc, which you hosted with the whole CRC on the same topics. But I thought it'd be worthwhile to go back and maybe just take a look here because there was a lot of change.
Yes.
And
we've got some new residents since then too.
Oh yeah, they continually every month. It's steady,
Yes.
steady, absolutely. You know, it's amazing, right? When you talk about it, maybe 150 every year.
Every year, yes.
There's a lot of change. So for those new people out there, maybe it'll be worthwhile to hear some of these things, and hopefully for the older residents, a little bit refresh on that. But first, I'd like to just show the board organization chart. They'll put that up on the screen now. You can see here we have the up in the left corner, the National Senior Campuses Board of Directors. Again, that's the overall governing board for the whole enterprise over all of the Erickson communities that are under the board's governance. Right below that, the Community Board, which is the Green Spring Village Incorporated Board. And that now consists of the 15 NSC members plus myself. Below that, you see the Community Relations Committee, which is made up of Jackson Bain and Eileen Erstead and myself, and also the Audit Committee, which I happen to serve on too. On the right side of the chart, you see the Erickson Living Company.
Yes.
And everybody, continually asks me, who's Erickson Living? Well, they are the management team. They're the company that Green Spring hires to manage the community, and they do a great job for us. Right. And then in the middle there, we kind of couldn't squeeze it in on one place on the left, but we have the NSC advisory committees, and I want to talk a little bit about those this morning too, what they do. And then finally, you see down the lower right corner, we have the community management team led by Chandra Kumar, who's our executive director, and all of her reporting directors for the various departments. Right. So this is what went into effect April 1st, 2018. And I think, we made these changes for a number of reasons, where basically, let me talk a little bit about that. Mm-hmm. We used to have 3 regional boards. Okay, well, we eliminated the regional boards. Right. This really, I think, was done for a number of reasons. One, we wanted to improve communications, improve the time to make major decisions that the board has to make. Another benefit is we go from 3 regional boards with 50 plus members to 1 NSC board with 15 members, plus the directors living in the community.
With that, those 15 members, are there 5 for each community or 3 for each community of 5 communities? How do you come up with 15?
The 15 is just, before we used to run about 10 people on a regional board, but it's just 15 across the board. They felt to cover the scope of all the communities. Okay. Today we have 16 plus Windsor Run 17, Devonshire, and then so we're getting up near 20 when you break down all the numbers. So it was a number they felt that was large enough to handle the complexities and also to provide the diversity of backgrounds, the people that serve on that board. And they are quite diverse, as we've talked before. A lot of them come with expertise in a certain area. So it's got geographic coverage in that we have like 3 members from out west, Chicago, Dallas, and also in Denver. Okay, and then we have them in the middle of the country. Of course, we have the abundance in the Northeast and the southern region where we are. So anyway, we made these changes. We are going to save some money because we'll reduce the amount of travel of all the directors we had before with 3 regional boards, which is good. And one of the ways we're also doing that is with everybody spread out, we're making more use of the electronics. We have a new program, it's called Zoom. Okay, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but with Zoom, it's kind of like used for an electronic classroom.
Oh, okay.
And it's a great program where everybody can log in on their computer.
Right.
And so I attend meetings a lot of times right in my home, right in my office.
Right.
And across the top of the screen, you see a photo of everybody individually that's logged on.
Right.
And then the charts can be presented electronically. And anytime a person goes to speak, they bring them up full screen. So all the others see them that way. But so it's an interesting technology, and we're starting to use that. Now, as a matter of fact, coming up this month, we're going to do a webinar for new residents. Again, that's again kind of a class using the computer with the resident council.
Right.
And we're going to brief them on a lot of the changes and how this is working, because they're a vital communications link.
Now, when you say the council, so you're talking about all 16 councils, right?
Well, yes, at the same time. So our council will be in a classroom
Right.
with myself, and then at the same time, all the other communities.
Right.
And the nice thing about it is all 16 communities are going to hear the same,
Which is wonderful.
same thing, same time, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to communicate. I mean, you still have to have some one-on-one meetings, and,
Right.
in person, but it's very, very efficient.
Yeah.
And it's a work in progress. We're learning how to do it better, and so we're going to use that technique.
Okay.
Now, so I talked a little bit about why we made the changes, and I think it will help improve response time, I think, for the board, particularly in making key decisions.
Right.
And then I have another chart I want to show up. It's about how we really work together. How does this organization work together? So hopefully, if you're at home and you're looking at this in your apartment, you can see it here again on the left side of the chart at the top. We have the national senior campuses. And then below that, the advisory committees. And I'll come back to those in detail in a minute. But below that, the community board. And then the community relations committee, which again is Jackson, Bain, Eileen, Erstead, and myself. And then the resident council and the residents. And you can see on the right, we've kind of lined up the various organizations of the board and how they kind of interface, or what we'd like to see happening is the NSC board itself, and particularly the executive committee board, will be dealing a lot with Erickson Living executive management, okay, back and forth. And I know, like, for example, Jim Anders, who is the chairman of the NSC board, he meets with Alan Butler, the president of Erickson Living, regularly, almost every 2 weeks. Okay. Jim was saying it's fortunate they actually live pretty close to one another, so that facilitates that. Now the advisory committees, which are listed there, okay, again, these are the committees that do what I call the real heavy lifting. They really do all the work for the board, okay, and they have expanded there. You can see the committees, but I'll just quickly glance down through. We have the audit committee, of course, just completed the recent audit. Budget and finance, which is coming up very soon now. Strategic and long-range planning is a new committee they established with the organization, looking out long-term. Again, we're talking 5, 10, 15 years from now. Operations and risk, governance, investment and treasury, which I serve on, and we are chartered with actually overseeing the investment trust with our long-term reserves. The diversity, inclusion, corporate social responsibility committee, and then the vision committee. Now, those committees actually have some members of the Erickson Living team, up in Baltimore, who actually provide input to them. And I can give you a specific example, like with Treasury. We have a director of Treasury operations who regularly attends our committee meetings. Okay, and they have an accountant there actually who helps keep the numbers all straight for us and helps prepare the reports from Vanguard.
Busy person.
Yeah, absolutely. Busy and important. And so you can see that interface back and forth. The Community Relations Committee, again, we're going to meet regularly here 4 times a year with the council and management. We've been here a couple times already. We'll be back in September. And then the the resident council, which is a key input to the board as well as to the community management.
Right.
And all of you know that we have probably about 100 residents on all those committees, so it's really an important interface as we move forward.
Right.
So those are, kind of how we work together, how we try to work together. The organization, I'm sure, will have some changes as we go forward.
Right.
I mean, we've only been a few months into the new setup. It seems to be working fine so far.
Good.
It'll be interesting now as we move forward in the fall. We've got the new budget cycle coming up, and see how that's going to work. I know we have some key meetings in August, September on the assumptions going into the,
Right.
I'm talking about the budget for next year.
Yes. And we have a number of items going from residents requesting
Absolutely.
money.
Yeah, the council has come up with, they pared down that list.
Yes.
But that will be submitted, and when the CRC here is here, Community Relations Committee is here in September, we'll review those in detail with the council. And so, again, it's a question of everybody working together. We have the boards, we have the committees, we have the resident council, and we have residents.
Yeah.
And so, again, the whole goal is really to ensure that residents live here in a community that's secure, that provides the services that are guaranteed to them within the resident care agreement, and we have to make sure it's carried out.
Right.
So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Well, I tell you
any
what,
questions?
you guys have been busy. I know that you're staying busy in regards to all this, but it's so nice to know that the CRC is coming in now on a quarterly basis. That everyone is sharing now with everyone. The first time ever in history, in the 20 years of Green Spring, and in almost 30 years now of Erickson Living.
Erickson Living, yeah.
That all the councils will be given the same information at the same time in regards to it. So
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I think it's
very,
exciting.
very good. So
And again, folks, it's an advisory council, but their advice is very important.
Right.
We have a lot of talent here, as you know,
Right.
a lot of fellow residents, but a lot of know-how. And I think management is very receptive to that and listening.
good. And then everybody needs to attend the resident town hall meeting in December.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be coming up, so.
Sounds good. All
Yeah.
right. Well, Roy, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us again this morning. And we look forward to you. You're now doing every other month, right?
Just about.
Just
Yeah.
about? Okay. In
Unless
regards-
something comes up, yeah.
as such it comes up. But we're always glad to have you come and share with all the residents, and keep up the good work.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.